Trying OpenClaw for the first time. OpenClaw is one of those automation platforms that feels powerful without looking overwhelming. It lets you connect apps, trigger actions, and build simple workflows without writing code. If you've never used an automation tool before, this first 15-minute walkthrough will help you understand what it actually does in plain language. When you first hear about OpenClaw, it might sound technical, but here's a simple version. OpenClaw connects tools together so they can talk to each other. For example, when someone fills a form, it will automatically send them an email. When you upload a file, it will automatically store it somewhere else. When you receive a message, it will log it into a spreadsheet. So instead of doing repetitive tasks manually, OpenClaw does them automatically. So now let's open it up and see what happens in the first 15 minutes. And here we are logged in to OpenClaw. This is our dashboard over here. Up here you can see it says OpenClaw, Gateway Dashboard. Here we have the side panel with these different sections. And then this is basically the chat area where you usually spend most of your time communicating with your assistant or your bot. So as soon as you log in to OpenClaw, the first thing you see is that the dashboard is surprisingly clean and approachable. There aren't any distractions. On the left is a very neat sidebar with the main sections. You have chat, control, agent, and settings. And then when you open up any of these in the center, you'll have the main workspace. So just as I enter in here, I'm going to take a minute to look around. The chat area over here lets you interact with your assistant directly. So here in this message area, you can type in any message, send in any prompt or command to your assistant. Let's just type in hi over here and see what we get as a response. And it says, hey, you caught me online. How can I help you today? When you have your first conversation with your assistant, it is going to ask you what the time zone is. It's also going to ask you what kind of a personality you want for your bot. So you can enter in whatever kind of personality you want it to have. And then it might ask you just a few other questions just to familiarize itself with the area and what kind of help that you could be needing. Once you tell it some information about yourself, for example, what your profession is, what work it is that you do, and that is going to help it decide what kind of a help it can give you, what kind of help you might need. And then you can even ask it for suggestions. So for example, if you're not sure what kind of help you can get from your assistant, you can ask it, in what ways can you help me with my work, or in what ways can you help me in my personal life? And then it's going to give you a really nice list and details of how it can help you. So here I'm just going to type in this, and we're going to tell it that I am a content creator and I make content on AI. How can you help me? And then over here, you're going to click on the send button, and then your message will be submitted. And then within seconds, you'll get your response. And then we have our response. So this is the response over here. It says that it can help me with my AI content creation. And then it can help with brainstorming and research, and drafting and outlining, fact checking and explanations, visuals and multimedia, social media and SEO, scheduling and reminders. So there is a lot that I can get help with. Now, if you discuss what apps you are using and then what tools you want to connect, then you can decide on that as well. So we see that we can directly have a nice conversation with our assistant, and we've also seen that it replies immediately and in as much detail as we need. So this style is basically a low pressure way to see the AI in action, and it also gives you confidence before you start configuring anything. So even at this early stage, I can see the potential. The assistant reacts to my commands, and the system tracks everything behind the scenes without me needing to touch any code. So next, I would just go over here to the sidebar and look at the different sections that we have and go through each of these. So we had a chat first, and then we're going to go to control, and we're going to go to overview first. In overview, you can see the gateway access, a snapshot. Down here, you have the instances, sessions, cron, and the different notes and sessions that you have as well. So you can go over generally the whole health of the system that is running and how everything has been set up. You can quickly view the overall health, and you can check the entry points, and also the gateway status over here is available. You can refresh this, you can connect. So here, when you come here, you can see that this is basically an overview. Then you can go down to channels, and here I see that you can manage all the different channels that can be connected to OpenClaw. So here with OpenClaw, you can connect your WhatsApp, you can connect Telegram. With WhatsApp, you can link WhatsApp web and then monitor that. Then with Telegram, you have the bot, and Telegram is the most recommended channel to connect with your OpenClaw because it supports bots. And then the bot status and channel configuration can be viewed over here. And then when you connect any of these channels, what you can do is you can send commands or just communicate directly with your assistant from your device that you have, in which your WhatsApp is or your Telegram is basically your phone. So you can use your phone to connect with OpenClaw, send it commands, and also receive the updates that you have assigned it to give you. So OpenClaw is basically running 24/7, and then with your phone, you'll be able to access it 24/7 and keep getting all kinds of updates. For example, if you have assigned OpenClaw to go over your emails and send your emails, give you email summaries, or maybe even go over your calendar, update your meetings, any meetings that have been canceled, schedule any further meetings, and maybe you manage your team through OpenClaw on maybe Slack or whatever platform. So you're going to want updates regarding everything. And then for that 24/7 access, you should definitely connect either your WhatsApp or your Telegram. You can also connect Discord, Slack, on which you can get your updates. So over here, you are going to be managing that in the channels area. Here you can go over your WhatsApp. So has it been configured? Yes. Is it linked? Yes. Is it running? No, it's not running at the moment. It is not connected at the moment. When was it last connected? What the last message was, the authentication age. So that was 3 days ago. And then right now it is logged out. So you can also relink it and you can log out, you can refresh. So you have all details related to every channel, and you can manage every channel in absolute detail. So what I'm seeing over here is there is a lot of detail available, and it shows that you will be in absolute control of all the channels that you connect, all the integrations you will be in absolute control of. Then after channels, you have instances. So with instances here, you can access the presence beacons from any connected clients and nodes. So anything which has been connected, you can go over the presence beacons from that for any gateways, for any clients, and then those all will be visible here. Then after instances, you have sessions, and every session here is made sure to run smoothly. So as you can see here, you can inspect active sessions and also adjust per session defaults. So for example, every time I log in onto OpenClaw, that would be one session, and right now we're active, so this would be an active session. And then you have the details for every session. You can log these sessions and even set limits per session. Then after sessions, you have usage. Then over in usage, we can see that our activity is recorded here. So you can see when sessions spike and then what actually drives cost as well. So because OpenClaw here is absolutely free, but when you use the different tools that you use inside of OpenClaw, that you connect with it, or any activity that you want it to conduct, which requires premium access, then you are going to be charged from that other app or tool that you are using. So you need to be mindful of that kind of activity, and that can happen over here in usage. So in usage, I'm seeing that there is a very nicely divided section for each concern. You have the filters over here, then you have activity by time, which you can access. So this is going to estimate the required session timestamps. And then down here, you have daily usage. So you can access the daily usage here. And then you have session summary here. So if you have the different sessions, they would be logged in here. And then you can access how each session goes. So that all can be managed here in usage. Next, we have cron jobs. And in here, I can see that you can schedule wake ups and recurring agent runs. So as we know what cron jobs is for, it's basically for any repetitive tasks that need to be conducted. And then here in this cron jobs area, you can set that up with different agents. So this is basically the scheduler over here, and this is going to be gateway owned. And then here you can access the status. So is it enabled, how many jobs, and then next week when that is, So that is the schedule here. You can access that. Then down here, you have the different jobs that are set up. So we don't have any jobs yet. And then down here, you have the run history as well. Over to the right here is where you can set it up. So you can create a scheduled wake up or agent run. And then here you have all the details. So this is also very detailed, and you can see that you will be in absolute control and you can decide up to the smallest detail of how you want to set that job up. So you have the name, then you have the agent ID, and you can also add in a description. Then you can schedule it for every what interval, and then every 30 minutes. You can decide for 30 minutes, hours, days, or even less than that. So maybe every 3 minutes. So you can set this up for every maybe 3 minutes too. So however you want to set that up. And then you also decide on the session if it's going to be isolated or not. And then wake mode, payload, and then agent message. So whatever the message is going to be, do you want a announced summary, timeout, you have channel, so all these details. And then when you're done, you're going to click on add job, and that job will be added. So this is pretty easy to understand even on your first visit here. So let me change that back. And then after cron jobs, down here you have the agent section. So let's go over to agents. And then here for now we have just one agent, which is configured. And then over here you have the main agent workspace and routing. And down here again you have these different sections for your agent. So these are not the kind over here, but separate sections to go over with for your agent. And then in this section you have the agent context. Here you have the scheduler again. And then down here you have the agent cron jobs, which will be related only to this agent, which is going to target only that agent. Because right now here we are on this agent. When we have more agents, then when you go to that agent, then you can access all these details for that agent too. So again, a very neatly organized area. Everything is divided into its separate section. You have the agent context here. You can go over its workspace, what model you have for that agent. So you can select model 2, and then the identity name, and then the skills filter. So what skills you are enabling, and we'll get into the skills too. And then the identity emoji if you want any. So all these details here. Here you have the cron jobs, and here you have channels to go over. These are the channels down here. Then you have the skills as well. So you can go over the skills for that particular agent. You can go over the tools for that particular agent, which tools you want enabled or not. And then you also have files that you can access. And then basically the overview. So these are the agent details. After the agent, you have skills. This is the area only for skills where you can enable skills for your assistant, and you can manage the skill availability and API key injection. So here you can search up any skills if you want, and the different skills available can be either bundled skills, managed skills, or workspace skills. And then here you can also bring in other skills as well, like you would do with plugins. So here you can open up all the different skills that you have and access them here, enable or block them as you need. And then after skills, you have nodes, which you can go over. Here you compare devices, the different capabilities, and the command exposure as well. So if you go down here, you can go over the different devices. And then when you go up, you can access the allow list and the approval policy that you can access. And then after nodes, you have the different settings. So you have the configurations that you can go into, and then you have this long list over here, and you can even set up the wizard. And then you have debugging over here, which you can access. And then lastly, you have logs, which you can see is updated according to time very frequently. And then at the end, you also have this resource where you have these documents that you can access in order to learn more about OpenClaw and really master it. So let's just go back over to our chat where we were first of all. And then here you can see to the right that next to the send option, you also have the new session option, and you can start a new session whenever you want that. Up here at the very top right, you also have the different modes. So you have the dark mode, you have the light mode, and you also have the system mode. So you can toggle between those as well. The health right now is okay for OpenClaw, and you can see that we are online and we can very conveniently access our chat and all these settings and tools, and we can manage our OpenClaw however we want in up to the tiniest detail. So you're absolutely in control, and all you need to do is monitor the activity. So once you familiarize yourself, you can go towards approaching automation, and you can start exploring more complex workflows confidently, knowing that OpenClaw will handle the technical details for you.